The Martian is directed by Ridley Scott and stars Matt Damon and a huge cast. I'm talking Kristen Wiig, Jeff Daniels, Jessica Chastain, the girl from House of Cards. There's so many people in this. Sean Bean. It's incredible to see the entire cast here, and they all felt like they did a very good job. So anyway, the main star of this is Matt Damon. His character is part of a crew where humans can just now go to Mars. They've done a few expeditions now, and they are about to leave because there's a huge storm coming, but Matt Damon actually gets stranded there, and the crew leaves thinking that he died. So they had no choice. They had to get out of there, and they thought they left him for dead. But he's alive. And now he has to figure out how to survive because his station is meant to only last 31 days. And he has to last for up to 4 years before the next expedition is going to be there. And he has to science, as the trailer suggests, the shit out of this. And I loved this movie. It's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of Castaway, and anytime that there's a movie where one of the characters is you're only going to be following this one character, and you feel like, oh my god, it must be very difficult for an actor to think that, you're going to have to carry this entire movie by yourself. But they do actually go back to Earth, where Jeff Daniels is and the rest of the NASA is, and they even go to the crew as well with Jessica Chastain and Michael Pena, I think is his name, and a few other people as well, and the girl from House of Cards. They go back and forth a lot back to Earth, so it's not really just Matt Damon by himself. But strangely enough, the best parts are Matt Damon by himself. You want to see him as much as you can, and they really did a cool way to allow Matt Damon to still be talking during these scenes where he's by himself, where he does video logs of what he's doing, and you really able to get a sense of his character and what kind of a person he is, and it's just becomes so easy to like this character. You start rooting for him because it's so easy to root for him. He's such a likable character, partly because Matt Damon by himself is a really good actor, but also because this character is just so optimistic in probably the scariest thing ever. It's so interesting because there's a character in Interstellar that has very similar things to what happens in Matt Damon, and I don't want to spoil anything, but if you've seen Interstellar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's so funny because being alone on a planet where there's nobody else, or even just being by yourself, stranded anywhere, is scary. And then being, on Mars, knowing that you are on this planet alone by yourself is one of the scariest things. And knowing that, you have to try to survive on a planet that, doesn't sustain life. It would be scary as hell. And this guy's just like, well, I'm a scientist, and the only way to get out of this is to use my mind and figure out problem by problem what I'm going to do. And I love that. It was so interesting. It's any type of a movie where, there's either, a training montage or just something where a person has to work on a specific problem and slowly become better is always interesting. It's going to be so easy to get into. And since that, they don't only just focus on Matt Damon, they go back to NASA. They start figuring out that Matt Damon's character is still alive. And now they have to figure out how the heck do we save him, considering we are so far away. And it's going to take us tons of money and tons of resources and time, which is the most valuable thing that Matt Damon does not have a lot of. So this movie was just excellent all around. The only really small negatives that I had was Jessica Chastain. Not specifically her, but I wanted her character to feel a little bit more at certain scenes. Near the end, she was awesome, but it's just at the very beginning, I just felt that she should have been reacting a little bit more. Other than that, I really felt that everyone did a great job in this. I really liked Sean Bean. He was in the movie a lot, but his character, he's just a welcome addition to any movie or any TV show at all. He's just a pleasure to watch. Same with Matt Damon. Matt Damon, also, he was ripped for this movie. I know he's got the new Bourne movie coming out, but he was built. So kudos to him for staying in shape at 45, I think. He's getting up there. And Ridley Scott, I guess he's hit and miss once in a while, but the sci-fi movies are always so... He's just a really good director in terms of making a planet look really nice. And anytime that they were in their suits, and it just reflected, and just the visuals were fantastic. And Mars, I guess, would be something kind of boring, but also interesting because it's all red. And I found that every time that he was on Mars and he's using his machinery and he's in his suit and you just see the desert basically of Mars, it was just a pleasure to watch as well. And I saw this movie in 3D. I normally hate movies in 3D. If I have the option of seeing a non 3D or 3D, no matter what the fucking movie is, I don't care if it's Avatar or some animated movie, I'm going to watch the non 3D. This movie didn't bother me at all. It did a really good job. It wasn't. Sometimes you go see a 3D movie and it's really too dark and you just want the scenes to be more bright. This movie did not have any of those problems. Looked really crisp and clear, possibly because it's, you know, they have suits on constantly, so you kind of see the glare and the shine of them. It just, it's a visual. It's nice candy for the eyes, basically, is what I'm getting to. So I love this movie, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I highly recommend watching this, especially if you're into science, if you like Matt Damon, Ridley Scott, space movies, any of that. Castaway. There's so much good in this, and I think you'll enjoy this. So thank you all for watching. You've been Bearded In. Beardage!